Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is another exciting continuing saga of Tech Tuesdays, a joint effort between the Owwll App and South Florida Tech Hub. If you have the Owwll App, thank you very much. If you don't have the Owwll App, you can download it while you're watching us live. Go ahead and download it, and if you use the referral code of thank you, you'll get $10 to start. That's one word. Thank you, as a thank you. I am Jeffry Ullman, the Director of Membership, South Florida Tech Hub. If you're not currently a member, reach out to me and we can talk about becoming a member. I am on the Owwll App periodically live during the day. I'll take calls, but I also have office hours Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. every day Eastern. Couple of quick announcements and then we'll get started. We have a very interesting guest today, Eric Coffie, and we'll talk to him. Couple of quick announcements. Tech Hub does have a golf event coming up March 7th. It's our 13th annual golf event at the Plantation Reserve Golf Club. And if you're not a golf fan and or a tennis fan, we have a tennis-based event coming up in conjunction with the Miami Open. It's going to be March 20th at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens. I announced a new feature last week. I am a history buff, and we had a history trivia quiz last week, and we're going to have one today. I'm going to test Eric and Cindy. And Steph, you're welcome to join if you want. Hey, Steph.
I am not a history buff. My son is, though. I wish he was here.
This is soft sort of history. So, and I'm going to show my age, and that's okay. I think, Eric, you're probably not old enough to answer this question. But anyway, this is the 50th, 50 anniversary of Saturday Night Live. And I am old enough to have remember watching the first episode live 50 years ago. It was when I was in high school. You can do the math and figure out how old I am. So this is a trivia question to Eric and Kathy. Who was the very? I'm sorry, Kathy. I don't know where that came from. Sorry. I told you I'm old.
I know. We go back.
Yeah, Kathy. I don't know where that came from. That is weird. Sorry. So, trivia, history trivia. The first host of Saturday Night Live was Eric, Cindy. Do you know who?
I have to defer to ChatGPT.
Okay. Wrong answer. Cindy?
I don't know. I can't think of. I was going to say someone like Mike Myers, but he's not even.
Oh, he's not old.
Yeah, he's not even old enough.
Can I give you context?
Sure.
I would not know the current person. Just for context. So just so you know, I don't know the current person who's in charge of Saturday Night Live. I do know that Dave Chappelle did a recent episode.
It's not as popular as it used to be.
Well, it's an interesting point. I used to watch it religiously.
So that's
now I don't really care.
Right.
So
then
anyway, when it was first on, I cared because I was in high school and you got to stay up late on Saturday night. It was live, Saturday Night Live, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. So the very first guest host was George Carlin, a comedian.
And I know George Carlin.
Okay.
I love George Carlin.
He was the very first guest host. And
that couldn't have lasted long.
You
know George Carlin?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't know, Steph.
George Carlin?
I don't know. Steph's not old enough.
Wait. No, that's not true. I don't remember George Carlin.
Right.
I watch him.
You just know the name. Yes.
From before.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't remember him seeing him live or anything. I just look at his old stuff because he's got some very.
He's still relevant.
Yeah. He's very relevant to what we're going through right now.
Right. So I'm getting way off topic, but his seven words you can never say on TV is classic. But let's not go there. I won't say any of the words now. Look it up.
La, 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 la.
Yeah. So there's a two-parter. So George Carlin was the first guest host. This is a second parter, and this is a little harder. Who was the musical guest? First musical guest, Saturday Night Live, 50 years ago.
Deborah Harry.
Good guess. Wrong.
I don't even know. I don't know any of these people.
It was Billy Preston.
I don't even know who that is.
Ooh. You know who Billy Preston is?
Vaguely. Sorry.
You gotta, you know.
Let's not even go there.
Okay, let's not. Go
Look, he
We need
well, both of them are dead.
like,
So,
sadly.
but look up Billy
Moving
Preston.
into positive news of
Right.
the day.
No, do not look up Billy Preston. Look up George Carlin.
George
Yes,
Carlin. There you
Because
go.
George Carlin.
Yeah.
In fact, I used his name this morning, and
There you go. And we
quote.
didn't practice this.
a
Did we?
quote that he said about our how we vote for our political people.
Wow.
Okay. Well, hold that thought. We're going to come back. So, I think you like my trivia for today. So it was good. So this is going to be an ongoing feature since I'm a history buff. I've already thought of the trivia
Well,
question.
history and culture too.
There you go.
Right?
There you go. Anyway, so thanks for watching live. Thanks for watching on the replay. I think that's enough for me for now. I'm going to have Cindy, not Kathy, Cindy introduce herself, and then let her introduce our expert of the day, Eric, and we'll go from there. Cindy.
Thank you, Jeffrey. So excited to be here. I'm so excited to learn about Eric Coffie. And I did do a little bit of digging, but I can't wait to hear from him about him. So my name is Cindy Metzler. I have a marketing and PR agency called Owwll Media. I've been heavily involved in the technology community for the past 20 years in South Florida. I'm originally from New York, and I am also co-organizer of TEDx Boca Raton for almost 10 years now. So lots of cool things happening in South Florida, including our friend here, Eric. So Eric, tell us about yourself.
Where do I start? Let me say. So I'm a Florida native. Grew up in Miami, so I'm originally from South Florida, and I went to the University of Florida. Go Gators!
Oh,
go
my daughter's
Gators.
there.
Go
Gators.
Yay.
I actually. So this is. I'll give you some real history. Okay, it's relevant.
Tell us.
Okay,
Gatorade?
so I no, even better than the Gatorade. So I co-founded the Entrepreneurs Club at the University of Florida.
Oh my gosh, that
So
says a
founded that
lot.
organization. Yeah,
Amazing.
and so now they've spun off a venture capital community, and I've met some of the kids now that recently have partnered up together, and they're doing investments in other Gator Nation inventors.
Amazing.
And they met at the organization that I founded when I was at the University of Florida.
Oh my gosh,
So-
planting some seeds there for sure.
And so currently, right now, we are working with the College of Engineering, helping them do more public-private partnerships.
Is that what your degree is in engineering?
Yeah, I'm an engineer.
Okay,
Yeah, but I've never used it in real life.
Mhm.
So I've
But
always.
you are a smarty pants.
I am
so.
a smart. Yeah, I am a nerd. Yes, it's deep down, like really far back. But I'm more. This is what
a cool nerd.
Yeah, so I do more of this now, right? So I had a YouTube channel for the last 7 years, had a podcast for the last 6 years, and I help small businesses work with federal government agencies.
Wonderful.
And so I interview the top small businesses in the country. I interview federal decision makers, and we help them understand the procurement process, the landscape, and navigating that, because the government, unfortunately, doesn't teach you how to sell to them. And so they don't. I have a very famous saying that I use all the time. The government doesn't get the best people. They get the best people that come to them. And so if you don't go to the government, they don't come looking for you. And then when you go to them and you're like, this thing is really difficult, like, how do you get through this? That's where we come in, and that's what we help. So I founded my organization, Govcon Giants. And
what's it called? Tell us.
Govcon Giants.
Okay.
And that's a nonprofit. And so we put out.
Is that the website for people who want to Google it?
So that is my website, but on there you won't find anything to help you, because it's really geared towards helping
Govcon Giants.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
geared
One word.
towards helping federal agencies tackle their challenges.
Okay.
So for the small business community who's interested in finding and learning about us, we've got a different website called federalhelpcenter.com, right?
okay.
And so it's federal help, HELP, center.com. That's our platform for helping everyday small and medium-sized businesses.
So cool that you got into this. My
Yeah.
goodness. Wow. So I always like to hear about like real world experiences or real world success stories. That's sort of how my brain works, like, because
Sure.
it sounds really cool what you're doing. But
Mhm.
tell us about some of the stories of working with different companies, and also for those listening who might need your help, like a light bulb might go off and say, okay.
So I can tell you, I got my start at Homestead Air Force Base down in Miami. We have
Wow.
an Air Force base down there, Homestead.
Way down in Florida. It's
It's
almost as far as
So
Key
you're a
West.
pilot too?
No.
Okay.
I didn't fly.
Okay.
I'm a construction contractor, so I
Okay.
built buildings for the government,
Wow.
and I specialize in steel buildings. They call them pre-engineered metal buildings. So I'll tell you a funny joke. So when you do construction, you do metal buildings. They call it steel erection. So we actually erect the buildings. That's how they're built.
LOL.
So
It's an industry term.
It is. So just so you know, that's the difference when you
Yeah.
actually put up regular buildings, right? But when we do steel buildings, they call it erection of the building. So we actually erect them because they come already pre-made like Legos, and you stand them up.
Yeah.
So it's called steel erection. So we did steel erections.
I've heard of tilt wall construction.
tilt wall
too.
construction.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I was never in the military. Again, I went to the University of Florida, and so I was I went from leaving University of Florida to doing real estate. Then the market crashed in 07, 08, and then
We remember those days.
yeah, and then I got into construction because it was the only thing that someone told me about government contracting. They said there are only people spending money. And then I started doing government contract projects, really small projects, 10,000, 20,000, 50. And then, I expanded from there. And so what I learned at that time, I was very young. And so people said to me, which, this ties back into what we're relevant now, is that, how are you getting these government contracts? Like, what are you doing? And this and that. And because all of my friends were doing government contracting, it was normal for us, right? So
Mhm.
imagine if you're a bartender or you work at a restaurant, and people, how are you bartending? Like, well, everybody, like,
Right.
it's not a
Easy peasy.
yeah, it's easy, like you're not a subject matter expert. That's not how you
Right.
think about it. You're like, all of my friends are bartenders. I hang out with bartender people. So for
Right.
me, it wasn't that. But I will say, what struck me was that people always assumed that because I was a minority that there were some sort of diversity contracts. So they're like, there must be some minority programs and things like that. And I go, I don't know anything about minority programs. I bid the projects against everybody else.
Right.
And so I'm
And you're like, I'm a engineer from UF.
Right. I'm
You
like,
didn't skip the line.
yeah. So but people assume because
Right.
of my skin color that I
Right.
must have been some sort of minority contracts. And I partly blame the media because the media is very good about pushing that all of these things are minority
Let's
contracts.
just blame the media for everything these
Well,
days, right?
No. But
No,
let's
I'm
go back.
joking.
But
I'm
sure, no,
joking.
you can because the media does push out the
Yes.
narratives that we all
Yes.
believe.
I know. I work in PR, so I totally get it.
Listen, I live in Delray Beach let's forget about the administration. I've been in Delray Beach for 5 years, right? I'm the only black person in all 4 buildings around me. Okay. And so people, when I tell them I can do government contracts, they go, oh, those are those minority contracts. And I go, what minority contracts?
Right.
And I said, so I go, when you look at the landscape and you just pull down the data numbers, you're talking about 1% of the contracts are going to people that are like black. 1%. So where are all these minority contracts that people are talking about
Wow.
that I'm not seeing because I'm not getting them?
Right.
And so it really, but they've shaped that narrative of a lot of this stuff is going this way when truly it's going to the big companies.
Right.
If you look at the data, the top 10 companies like Lockheed, Boeing,
Yes.
those companies, they get 50% of all contracts.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they
And they
love pushing
probably
the
have the
minority narrative.
Yes, right.
when they're getting 50% of all the work.
Right. But they probably have the infrastructure too. You think? No? They have the greased palms or something like that.
I understand why Elon Musk wants to create the Department of Government Efficiency. If you read his book and you know the path that he took to break through the barriers of getting past those defense contractors that want to keep him out, you'll understand why the process was not fair for him coming in and starting up a new company. It wasn't easy for SpaceX to break through because our current companies that control that industrial base were not allowing new incumbents in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it was cheaper and more efficient, they didn't care.
Right.
So they would always lobbying and threatening, right, to fire American citizens and lay off people if you allow these other people to come in. And so that's why we're not getting the best technologies. And if you look at it, we're falling behind our foreign adversaries in every category.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's very, very
So
interesting.
I know his path. So I understand kind of his frustration. I mean, he might have went really far with it, but I do understand why he's now like, I got to fix this procurement policies because they prevented people like me who had good technologies from breaking through.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And
It
all
totally
of you guys,
makes sense.
everyone at South Florida
Yeah.
Tech Force, you may have a great solution, but because the procurement policies are not allowing you guys to present
Right.
it, you're not getting the best solution.
I think
So-
it's a recipe in procurement, but also in corporate too.
Yes.
Sometimes you just can't break through the corporate,
Right.
red
So-
tape.
So you and I talked a little about this before, and you kind of alluded to this. So correct me if I'm wrong here. You had indicated to me that there is grant money available
Mhm.
that small businesses could apply for, but typically a lot of small businesses think they're too small to actually apply. So a lot of that money, that grant funding, not grant, the contract funding, and you might want to correct me on the use of grant versus contract. Is that a true statement that there is contracts out there for small businesses to apply to, but many don't? Is that a fair
So I
statement?
didn't say that many don't.
Okay. Okay.
I said that there's so the government has procurement policies that state that if a contract is under a certain dollar threshold, it's supposed to go to a small business, right? But again, the word is small business. It's race neutral, it's gender neutral,
Right.
it's small business, right? So
Right.
any
Qualified small
small
businesses.
businesses. But by the federal government definition of small business, that could be a company that's doing 50 million or 3 billion.
Wow.
So it's most people understanding or concept of a small business, when you compare it to the federal government's definitions, most of us don't think that $100 million company is a small business.
Right.
Right. Right.
But,
I'll take it.
You'll take it. But so they are by definition small business under certain categories in the federal
Is
government.
is it
And
based?
that's the things I teach.
Yeah,
It-
compared to Boeing, it is a small business, right?
Right, exactly. Right. Yes. Compared to Lockheed Martin.
Yeah.
Is the criteria annual revenue? Number
No.
of employees? What is the criteria?
So
for small
depending
business?
upon your sector, right, the criteria can be revenues or employee count.
Let's say for technology companies, if there is.
So again, you can look it up, right? So you can go to the Small Business Administration. They have a table. It's called size standards table, and you can just type in there your category, and then it'll tell you what the size standard is for your category. Typically, the way that it's worked up is for companies who are doing services, it's typically revenues, and companies who manufacture, it's more of an employee count. That's just the general standard.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Go-
and the reason why I didn't answer directly saying tech, because technology could be software, it could be
Right.
hardware, and so, but I mean, for the most part, on a technology company, it's going to be a revenue base, and
Okay.
so it's going to probably see somewhere in the $40 million range.
Okay. And that's a minimum, or
That's no, that's that's an average over a 3-year period.
okay.
So that would make you be considered no longer a small business. So you were considered
Okay.
small business up to a $40 million 3-year average annual
Okay.
run rate.
Correct me if I know I'm wrong here, because I've often used the term contract and grant interchangeably, and they are not the same thing.
No.
And I just used the word grant when I meant contract. So why don't you explain for our audience the difference in those two? Although it's a subtle difference, but a significant difference.
Well, for me, so the government does give out just as much grants as contracts. Just to be honest, they in terms of dollars, it's about the same. However, grants, for me, right? I don't teach grants. I teach contracting, so
Okay.
procurement. With grants, most people when they hear the word grant assumes free money.
Yes, you're right.
Right. Me included.
You,
Incorrectly.
you get money and you don't have to pay it back.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do anything for it.
That's kind of free.
Right.
But that's not the case, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's why I don't teach it, because I don't want that type of audience that's looking for handouts.
Got it.
Mhm.
So I stay away from that. So I teach procurement because I say it's a get rich scheme, but it's not get rich quick. It's get rich slow. So you
Mhm.
got to learn the procurement rules and regulations. You got to understand business development. You got to get to know your customers, similar to if you were in network in corporate America, right? We have capture teams and business development teams. I teach you how to build an infrastructure out, right? And then how to train those people in their jobs and what they should be doing, looking at forecast lists, understanding what the government's buying down the pipeline. A lot of people are, and you still haven't brought up DEI. We got to talk about DEI, Jeff.
I'm getting to
You're
that.
You're running away from DEI subject.
I'm not running
gotta
away.
talk about DEI. So what the thing is that there's a lot of infrastructure to put in place to start to do this type of business, right? And so we talk about what that looks like and what the roles are of the people you need to be hiring, like who's your first hire, what should they be doing on a day-to-day basis, who should they be talking to, should they be calling, like those are the things that we teach people is how to actually put an infrastructure together to go after government procurement. Because once you've figured it out and once you've done it, right, it's like a skill that you can't take away from you. And then
Is this all in construction or in all different industries?
every industry.
All
This is
industries.
government procurement.
Okay, I love it.
It's government procurement.
How do you find
said you
your
want a real life
clients?
example. I
Yeah.
gave you one example of construction.
Yes.
Which I kind of hate
okay,
because people
okay.
assume that.
Yes,
right?
yes.
But I can give
Cindy,
you examples in staffing or IT
Okay, I
or
love
technology.
it. No,
Cindy,
it's
I'll-
such a great niche, you
Yeah.
I
know.
only book interesting guests.
No,
I
listen. I've been trying to
know.
tell Software Tech Force to bring their tech people, but again, a lot of these tech people, they're afraid of going into the space.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to get at.
But-
I've talked to a lot of small business, and they just immediately assume, oh, I'm too small. I can't apply, and you can always apply. So how do you get over that reluctance that small businesses have to actually apply to go through the process, or is that basically what you teach?
I mean, that's what we teach. That
Okay.
that's so
Are they workshops or all different types of way that you
so
teach?
my major platform is YouTube. So
Okay.
it's free. You go on
Okay.
YouTube University. That's what all the
Okay.
kids use now. Like,
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
so
Yeah.
I'm on
Kids,
YouTube University.
15-year-olds know how to put makeup on better than people.
I have 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds winning government contracts.
Cindy
Yes.
doesn't need makeup.
I have
Wow.
16-year-olds winning government contracts.
That's amazing.
Because of YouTube University.
Amazing.
So-
I have
amazing.
16-year-olds, 17-years-olds, 18-year-olds.
That's legal. You don't have to at least be 18 for.
So you know that the government hires companies, not people.
Okay. Good point. Good point.
And so how do
point.
you make money
Anybody-
though? Through YouTube or
How do I make money?
yeah, I'm just saying if you're giving away all this free information on YouTube.
So you know that YouTube is also the biggest way that people market themselves and their
Yes,
businesses.
of
and
course.
services.
So that's
It's a
why
big
that
funnel,
yes.
right? So the people that I studied said give away all your stuff for free, 99% of everything for free. Guess what? You're going to attract the best people. So I attract the best partners. I attract the best. Like when I want to go after a contract, I can put it out on YouTube, and people will come to me and say, "Hey, you're the professional. You're the expert. You know what you're doing. Clearly, I want to work with you." So people come to me, and by that, I've been able to attract working with the University of Florida and all of their engineers and all of their laboratories. Right now, they have one of the fastest computers in the nation. And, we're able to put that in front of government customers and clients. And I'm able to simply, I can get in front of anybody I want to anywhere in this country in any federal facility by just posting a line or going public or just simply saying that I'm going to be in Texas Saturday and I want to go into this federal facility and who can get me in there. And because I've been making content for 7 years and I've had millions of views, people go, "Oh, Eric, I love you. I'm a former FBI. I'll walk you in the building."
Yeah, I love it.
So the one thing to learn about federal contracting, it's a relationship business.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what I have? Lots of relationships.
Well, also you have a great personality and you have a gift with the microphone and you're a very good communicator. So
Thank you.
yeah, and obviously you have an engineering degree. All of these things together definitely have. I mean, that's one of the reasons probably you have so much knowledge, right? And people come to you because you're the expert.
I've been teaching for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Now I will say this. Yes, I am good at speaking, but I have been doing a podcast for 7 years. So I've done hundreds of episodes of my podcast.
Right.
I've made thousands of YouTube videos. So I've made a
Mhm.
lot of content. So I've gotten pretty good at talking about
Yeah.
this subject.
And
Yeah. You're a natural.
I did look at your YouTube channel, and I forgot to look. The name of the YouTube channel is Govcon Giants as well, correct?
No, it's my personal name, Eric Coffie.
It is. Okay.
But it
So-
doesn't matter. If you Google Eric Coffie or Govcon Giants, either way, you'll
Okay.
find us.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The algorithms do their magic. I'm not worried about that.
So, but you also, in addition to all the content you have on YouTube, don't you have? Because I know you periodically have very large events.
Yeah, we do trainings, and we have we do cohorts of students. We've got I'm doing a 10-week boot camp right now. So so people come into my trainings. We've trained probably 7,000 small businesses right now. Clearly 1,000 in our paid programs. Our students are doing somewhere between 300 to 400 million a year in contracts. And so, we've built up a big training business, I guess.
So you kind of have a dual model. A lot of your training, a lot of your content's available for free, but you do have some paid for kind of training classes as well, correct?
Yeah, but it's not a dual model. So the YouTube is really literally it's a funnel.
A feeder.
Okay.
It's not it's a funnel. It's a feeder to our training business.
Okay.
But I will say this, because I want people to know this. It's important. When I started this and doing it in 2017, I made content for 2 years every single day without a monetization strategy. So I didn't come on to YouTube with a plan on how to monetize.
Mm-hmm.
It was pain.
It was just giving. Yeah,
I was giving because I had been through some pain through some bad situations that I want to train up small businesses on how to protect themselves and
avoid
fight back.
those pitfalls.
Yeah, exactly. I went through the same challenges that a lot of people gone through trying to break through to some of these industry establishments and them hurting me.
Right.
And so it was out of pain that I built that channel. So I didn't care if I ever made $1 off of YouTube.
Wow.
I was just going to make content.
So I stand corrected again in terms of your value prop. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Let me ask you. So you've been.
So we do podcasts. We get to know each other.
There you go. So you've been a great.
That's okay. Yeah, he said it's going to go off.
You've been a great guest. I knew you would be. That's why I had you on. So you mentioned your YouTube channel, which is your name. People can follow up.
Yep.
I'm assuming if they want to connect with you on LinkedIn, that's okay as well.
Yeah, everywhere. I'm a
So
social media guy.
since we are partnering with Owwll, have you thought about? You'll be available on the Owwll app. Have you thought about? Are you going to periodically have an office hour or take calls, etc.? What are your thoughts there?
I'm waiting for you to talk about DEI.
That's my next question.
No. You keep avoiding DEI.
All right.
That is everybody's concern right now.
Well,
That is what's on every news channel is all the executive orders.
True.
Is that not your concern?
Oh
Right.
yeah.
When
Well,
you
I mean, it's everywhere. You're
when
right.
you think that
Yeah.
when you want to
There
know
is a
what will your question be to
narrative.
me about DEI?
Well, I think there's just a narrative on the media. So tell us your thoughts about DEI.
Right. But what do you think
What's
about the
happening?
second? Right.
well,
Go ahead.
before the podcast, I asked Eric. I said, Eric, is it okay if we bring this up because it can be a sensitive topic? And Eric said, it's the reality of where we're at today. So
But what was your question to me?
my question was, given the current political climate,
Mhm.
is it negatively affecting
Right.
your
there you go.
company?
Exactly.
Because I was concerned it was. And
Right.
you corrected me that you focus on contracts, not grants. So that was part of the correction. Or did I confuse it
You
again?
confuse it again.
Okay.
You keep going to grants. I don't know why he likes grants. He loves grants.
I do.
conversation. You love grants.
I work for a nonprofit.
Can you help them get some grants, Eric?
He loves grants. No.
Jeffrey wants a raise.
Everyone makes a raise. He wants to get grants. Clearly.
How did I get this job?
I don't know. Now, you said, is DEI negatively affecting my business, right? Because of all the executive orders and actions.
Correct.
Right. Has nothing to do with grants or
That
contracts.
was my confusion.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right. So I'm going to say this. So we teach people, there's 5 people that you want to meet when you deal with the government, right? So it's contracting officers, program managers, right? You want to meet the stakeholders, you want to meet the end user, right? And small business professionals. None of that has to do with DEI.
Right.
I never even knew that DEI existed in the federal government because all of the procurements are regarding small businesses. So there is no DEI regs or mandates or anything like that associated with small business contracting. And in fact, the small business contracting is from the Small Business Act that was created in 1954 before anything DEI even existed.
Right.
So this is tied to a much larger act that was put through by Congress and the Senate and by the president, which has zero relationships or correlation to DEI. So I have to say that because people keep lumping this together because somehow if a minority person wins a contract, they have to be
Yep.
DEI.
Mhm,
And so
mhm.
you can't, and I'm going to go even one step further, even within the small business contracting sector, right? The government says they give 23% of contracts to all small businesses. This is what they say, right? However, they're not soliciting 23% contracts to small businesses. So they're taking the credit for you winning, whether they solicit it to you or not. So if they put out an open market contract and a small business wins, they go, oh, that's a check in our feather. We just got another credit towards meeting our goals. Not that they solicited that contract for you. They could take the credit because you happen to be small. So they're actually not even soliciting 23% of contracts of small business. They're only soliciting probably less than 15 or 12%, and they're meeting the goals because we just happen to be small.
Interesting. It's interesting to know what's happening on the
This
inside.
is the real world.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
This is not
It's
the.
kind of refreshing, though, I think, for so many people because, they might think that it's affecting and it isn't.
They do. It's because that's what the media keeps pushing out there. The narrative somehow that DEI and government contracts and all this stuff is related. And DEI, that's why it's an executive order, not a bill or an act.
Right.
Right.
That's the difference. That's why you can sign it away.
Right.
I didn't even know
Smart.
it existed.
Yeah.
I never
Smart.
knew. I've never met a DEI person inside a federal contract building. I just had a meeting with Southern Command this morning, and I'm meeting with the director of cybersecurity, the director of intelligence. These are people that your tech hub community would want to meet.
I agree.
That has nothing to do with DEI, but
I agree.
Keeps lumping me into this whole DEI thing.
So
I'm sneaking on in here.
Go ahead.
Don't mind, Eric.
Get in here.
Right over an inch, so I get in the camera frame because I'm listening to all this in the background, and there's so many people on the Owwll platform that want to chat one-on-one and either pick your brain about this topic, or you brought up something very important. It's about those relationships, and people aren't out there, just knocking on your door from the government saying, "Hey, here's a contract. Let's work together." Like, that's not how business operates, and no different with the government. So what we're going to do today, everybody watching, I just had Eric's profile up on the screen. Make sure you follow him because it's super important that when he makes himself available, he has very limited time, right? He has a lot of people knocking in on his door because he has over 50,000 followers on YouTube, plus all different verticals on social media. You want to get that notification to speak to him one-on-one and just gain knowledge from this amazing human being. So what we're going to do now, Eric, is really cool on the show, right? We are literally going to call some people, and there's been people chatting. You kind of see the social media feed right there that are literally asking questions in the feed right now. We're going to call one of them up because they've been listening and tuning in this entire time. So it's like the old school radio days, but with new technology. So we have Connie right here. So real quick, we're going to read her background, right? And she has a nonprofit. She does a lot when, of course, things like wildfires happen in California. And, what happens, when this mess occurs, it becomes such a mess, of course. So she steps in. She has a thing called Kits for Kids, and we're going to let her do the talking. So what we're going to do is just call her live and, show everybody out there the power of relationships. Because you brought up that point a moment ago. It's like, it's not about counting, the dollars. It's about counting the relationships. And over time, then they're going to knock on your door to do business with you. And I think too many people forget that these days due to social media.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone wants to just go viral.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
but
no,
the truth is, it's like, no, you should just be collecting relationships.
Eric's a perfect example. He went viral after 7 years, right?
Yes. Only 7 years. Hey, Connie, can you hear us?
4
yes,
years.
hold on
4
one
years.
second. Let me.
Yeah. It's a commitment.
Good morning.
Good morning,
everybody.
Connie Myers. Welcome to Tech Tuesdays, powered by Selfler Tech Hub. Are you cool with being recorded?
Absolutely.
I know you're watching live. Your background's up on our television right now, and we have Eric in the studio. So if you don't mind, can you tell Eric a little bit about yourself? Because we're live on the air. You didn't get too much of a chance to read your bio, and then go ahead and fire off some questions for Eric if you don't mind.
Okay, well, I was a FEMA inspector and trainer for 7 years, did over 50 disasters and trained thousands of inspectors. And 3 years ago, I founded a nonprofit after doing a for-profit where I trained people how to go into their communities and help them be more prepared and safe. And I started a nonprofit because somebody came to me at one of my where I was speaking at the National Disaster Expo. And they said, you need to be a nonprofit and you need to be dealing with kids. So that's how it started. And so the Kits for Kids initiative is launching this month. It's starting in Las Vegas. We're going across the country where we're providing safety go kits in the backpacks of kids so that when they go to school, the playground, wherever they go, they has a tracker so the parents can track where the child is, and then other kinds of safety items, stop the bleed bandages, all the major safety things that a kid should have. And obviously, coming from FEMA and coming from the nonprofit, I've enjoyed that conversation about grants versus procurement.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little tiny. I mean, Jason's on my advisory council. There's other people on Owwll that are a part of it, which I really appreciate. And I love Owwll for that very reason. But I'm small. I'm a very, very small nonprofit at this point. I don't plan on staying that way very long. What can I do as a small organization to be able to maybe take advantage of some of these these contracts that are out there? And the second thing is the latest announcement about the loans and grants being stopped. How does that affect contracts?
So again, the government has a lot of programs, and I don't think people even have they don't even know all their programs. Just so
Right.
you know, Connie, I have spoken at different groups with the SBA, and I had to remind them of some of their programs. Most of the government, and
Massive.
yeah, I think that we also have to remember, right, that and you worked at FEMA, so you probably know this. Most of us people that work in the government work in silos, so they don't even know all the programs. Would you agree, Connie?
Oh, I was an inspector out in the field, but yes, I would definitely agree.
Yeah. So
Universities too. They're so
universities
massive.
are massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same thing with the College of Engineering. They don't even know all the laboratories and the
Yes.
professors.
Yes.
So so that is where I think the challenge is for most of us. And so what we always tell people to do is I always say start with market research. So I say let your market research guide your decisions. So for me, Connie, if I were you, what I would do is I would go and look up, right, the exact service that you're offering that you want to get contracts or grants for. And I would go and look at the market research to see which federal agencies historically in the past were funding those types of activities. And then once you found that out, then you would look up the 5 people that I mentioned earlier in the call. You would find out who were the decision makers, the program managers, contract officer representatives, and or the end users of those programs. And then as you befriend them at different conferences and events, right, or different webinars, then they will tell you what are their priorities and where the budgets are being spent. So I'll give you a real life example. I'm dealing with Oak Ridge National Laboratories, and I was putting together a presentation for them recently based on their their 10-year plan, right? So I prepare when I go to meetings. I'm looking at their 10-year plans. Well, to your point, they said that because of the new administration changes, that plan is changing. And so I wasn't able to quote anything from that plan because it's going to be updated. So the only way that I was able to know that is by having a relationship with the people on the inside, and they were able to tell me those things. So I think you're the part that you're missing is that you don't know anyone on the inside that's working in those areas that you're trying to cover. And that's the first step that I would tell you to do is get to know them, and they'll tell you. And this is why, again, I'm not afraid of what happens in the landscape because I know people. So they're like, Eric, our new priority is going to be this. So when you talk about this.
Right. Smart. Yeah.
That's it. So, a few years ago, we were talking about building a wall. Well, that's where our dollars went. But, so people knew that coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They knew it before it became media coverage. They knew a lot of stuff. So I know I can tell you something that's not even public yet. But so I'll say it.
Breaking
so
news.
I can have it on, so you guys can have it on record. Just
Breaking news.
I know that they want to reform the Department of Justice, and they're looking for ways to do that. But from the technology standpoint, to make the process of taking someone from the time that they are tried to convicted shortened.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to do that through technology. So I had these conversations back in November.
Wow.
Back whenever they first announced the winning, I don't know, was
Right.
Yeah.
November. They were already planting the seeds. Like, these are the things that we want to do, and they were already having conversations behind the scenes with people who were already incumbent contractors and vendors on these are the priorities that this administration is going to have, and this is where we're going to put our dollars at.
Mm-hmm.
So my advice to you, Connie, first of all, I think we all have to get away from saying we're small, because that is not, like, no one really wants to hear that, Connie. That's not a attractive trait.
Not
when
a
it-
selling tool.
Yeah, when you're calling somebody Connie,
I
you don't
can
want to
do
tell
anything. I
you
can
know,
do anything.
You want to say, listen, because you're not small, Connie. You might be small in revenues, but like you said, your past experience of working with FEMA and doing these things, and if you look at your Rolodex and your relationship base from your time in the industry, you want to. What I teach people is you have a bigger persona than you let on. And
True.
so one of the reasons why I love federal versus state and local is that you have the ability to be able to assemble teams of people, and they want the best team, not the best company. So you, Connie, don't have to be the biggest company, but between your circle of influence, your sphere of influence, the people that you work with, if you assemble them as a team, you actually are pretty large, and you could probably take on more than you assume and think. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense,
Yeah.
and I have big plans. So
Yeah, and so that's what I want you to do. I want you to sell few other team members on your big plans and your ideas, and then get them on board, because what you do is when you go after something, right? And once you do your market research, you figure out who the agencies are that you're dealing with, and now you know who they are. You start dealing with some of the decision makers, and they say, Connie, is this something that you guys can tackle? You already have your team of people, right, that you've already contacted and reached out to, that when you already get some of those big things now, you put the team together and then you present that to the government. And that's a totally okay proposition.
And the business intelligence that you have, Connie, like it's
worth
irreplaceable.
fortune. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
I have one more question along those lines,
Sure,
and that is,
Sure.
um, getting to know these obviously are going to take a little time.
Yes.
And um, is there any way of maybe getting some kind of a contract with somebody who already has a contract to get
Sure.
it started?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and that's why I said it originally. This is not a get rich quick, it's get rich slow. It's a process. And that's why I teach people the process.
Breadcrumbs.
Yeah. So I will say, I'll tell you what, Connie, I'll do you a favor, right? Since I'm on the show, I'll throw you a bone. Look up Mark Masters. Okay. Mark Masters out of Arizona, and he's got the contracts that do all of the wildfires. He does all of the training and the preventions and the education of wildfires for the government. He's one of the foremost experts. Look him up, tell him you know me, and then he'll probably throw you a breadcrumb.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, Connie, I got you. Don't worry about
The
it.
power of Owwll. This would not
Yes,
have
the
happened.
power of Owwll.
No, it's so true. I
Right.
mean, think about the background, the knowledge that Eric has and what he's bringing to the table. But you can tell that's why you're so successful,
Yeah.
because people hear what you know and they want to learn from you.
I mean, and there's not a scenario you can give me that I can't give you someone for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've known so many people in this community.
Yeah, and it's such.
It's in my
yeah,
head. It's
yeah.
ingrained in me.
It's awesome.
So, Connie, this is Jeffrey. Thanks for, by the way, the other voice you heard was Cindy Metzler.
Hi, Connie.
And
I've been watching.
Oh, okay, thank you. So we have about 25 seconds. Any last question, thoughts, Connie? I'll let you go.
Well, Jeffrey, I talked with Jeffrey yesterday, and thank you for letting me know about this, because I've been swamped and hadn't been keeping up with who's going to be on. So I appreciate it very much. And Jason, thank you.
You mean, yeah, Jason.
Shout out to Jason.
Thank you, Jason. All right, Connie. Thank you. Talk to you later.
Bye, Connie.
Bye, Connie.
So, a little background. The way the modality of Owwll works is you can set office hours, or you can take calls periodically. So I take calls periodically. I had some downtime yesterday. I went live for about a half hour. Connie called me, and we just started talking. And I said, Connie, what you're trying to do is a perfect, connection for who we're having on tomorrow. Please call in, or I'll call you. Okay. So, it just goes to show you that, like Eric said, building relationships is important, and that's part of what Owwll can help you do.
I mean, think about it. There's almost 10,000 people on Owwll, and you can filter and see, even from a PR perspective, like there's podcasters on there. I frequently go on and connect with people that, like Eric said, building relationships that can help
That's what
each
I do
other.
every day.
Yeah.
I'm literally doing that every single day, all day.
You can tell. That's why you're good at what you do.
And I'm a great connector, so I connect a lot of people.
Well, the
together.
beauty too is that you're a giver.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that connect, and then they want something.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
I know.
and so you're just giving, and you know what comes from that? Getting.
Yeah, no, I get. It's funny because now I'm going back to Miami-Dade County in South Florida. That's what I'm finding is so many people want something from me. They're like, I'll make that introduction. What do I get for it? I'm like, that is such a shallow way of thinking. And, unfortunately, that's probably why they're in the position they're in now. So,
right. No,
but
you're
I mean,
right.
I've learned, and by the way, I also preach and I tell everyone, I think that everyone should be putting out content. And because, one of the things I didn't share while Jeffrey's calling the next person is that, people told me that my information wasn't valuable.
What?
When? We're both like, what?
What?
When?
Just
When
saying.
was this?
You know me now because of who I am, but before when I was just a government contractor, you didn't know me, and so people are like, oh, that's not valuable information.
Wow.
Nanzine, excuse me.
Oh, I'm ready.
Nanzine?
I love
The
the name
three-way
Nancy.
call.
Nanzine, are you there?
Hi there. Yes, how are you?
Thanks for being available. You are live on Tech Tuesdays. Are you okay with us broadcasting and recording you to the known free world? I'm joking. Say yes. You're live on Tech
Hello,
Tuesdays.
you're live.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. So is that the federal government requires that you?
Hi, thank you.
It's like on an airplane. I need a yes answer if you're sitting in the emergency row. Are you okay with that?
She said yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Absolutely. Or it's like customer service. Yes, absolutely.
I think you were thinking,
Okay.
who is this
How are you
crazy guy
guys?
calling me? So Nanzine,
No,
thanks.
well, first I was like, oh, it sounds like I'm on three-way.
You are on three-way. You're on four-way.
Yeah. So you're live on Tech Tuesdays, joint effort with South Florida
Hey.
Tech Hub and Al. You have Cindy Metzler.
Hi.
Say hey, Cindy.
Hello,
And you-
Nazine.
Hi, Cindy.
And you,
Hi.
and you have Eric Coffie. I don't know if you were able to watch any of the current podcasts. Eric, why don't you introduce yourself real quick, and then I'll talk to.
We've got a real superstar here with Eric.
I teach small businesses how to work with the federal government and sell to the Department of Defense.
Thank you. So Nanzine, we've not talked. We didn't talk yesterday. I saw your profile. Given you were a founder, I thought you might be interested in this topic. So introduce yourself. Tell us a little of what you do, and we'll go from there.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nazine Chugtai, life and business consultant. I work with small business owners, entrepreneurs, business professionals, and I'm helping them essentially create more mental bandwidth so that they can then focus on what they're best at, which is work, spending time with their family, or enjoying their hobbies. And I mostly focus on the life side. You can consider me like their chief of staff or the quarterback of their team and referring them out to different experts. And I've worked with companies that are well over unicorn status. And when I transitioned out of a wealth management firm, decided to kind of go off on my own and help the world on my own.
You're breaking up a little, Nancy, and I don't know if you can get a little closer to your phone.
Can you hear me a little bit better now?
Yes.
Yes, but I think we got
Great.
the gist of it. Yeah, we were able to hear.
Yeah.
So sounds like you're doing some great work.
I'm really passionate about helping people, and that's really just my purpose, is just helping people in a different light, right? A different avenue.
Is that your primary business for now? Thank you. Is that your day
Yes.
job for now?
Yes, it
Okay.
is. Yes,
Well,
it
that's
is.
great. Well, it sounds
Yeah.
like you and Eric do something similar, helping people, right? And it's something you're both really passionate about.
Absolutely. Yes. Helping
Have
people basically. Go ahead.
Have you ever gotten any government contracts?
I haven't as of yet. No.
I'm just teasing.
I have a different question for you. What drove you to want to help people?
So I would say since I was very young, I've always known that that's been a part of my purpose, is helping people. It's really just what avenue, right? So I started off in healthcare, built up the nursing leadership team for this well-known brand when I was born and raised in California. Once I transitioned from that to a weight loss clinic, I helped those clinics as well, and then transitioned to a wealth management firm building that up to about 115, 125 million under management, and then just kind of venturing off on my own and deciding to want to help more on the life side than on the business side. Because if you help the life side, the business will automatically profit.
Right. I agree. How are you finding your clients now?
It's really word of mouth, referral based, and just networking and meeting people.
Okay.
That's kind of how it's been, and I'm basically a really good referral expert as well.
Oh, we lost you for a second.
Client to can you hear me again?
Yes.
So I just refer to client for, like, for example, real estate investing, just like a quarterback of their team and helping them to leverage their time better.
This is Jeffrey. Have you been able to leverage Owwll for networking?
I'm just starting to utilize it more.
Okay.
What's interesting is I posted on one of the forums, and there's like a huge influx. So it's almost just making sure there's a lot of people to connect with, right? And just really honing in on leveraging it now.
That's great. While we have a live audience, and for the replay too, tell like your target market, like who's your ideal customer that you can help.
So right now I'm gearing more towards
Oh, can you come back to the phone? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have you on a headset. That might be a part of the issue.
Oh, there
Right.
we go.
So right now I feel the best clients to work with are financial advisors, and I can help them on the life side with their clients. I'm working right now with a financial advisor and basically outsourcing any of the tasks that they need help with, like referral wise. So financial advisors are firms, independent advisors who have their own firms, also busy entrepreneurs who have multiple businesses. So because I specialize, I've done healthcare and wealth management. Those are the two markets that I feel are geared best for me. Also just individuals that are very busy with their businesses and who need to leverage some of their time and their mental bandwidth to be able to outsource tasks, like their mental tasks to, right? So I can vet their experts for them.
So Nanzine, and I apologize for mispronouncing your name, since it's not a very common name, first and last. Why don't you go ahead?
Nazneen.
Why don't you spell it out so people can follow up with you
Sure.
on Owwll?
Nazneen, Nazneen. Last name is F as in Frank, Arhadi for Hadi. That's what I'm going by. I'm also essentially what I want to do is bring the business world also into helping them with the spiritual community. I'm hosting an event today. It's a ecstatic dance event, bringing in some business professionals and doing kind of an emotional release, letting go of limiting beliefs and thoughts.
Sounds
So
amazing.
Connecting in that. Yeah.
That's a live event, or how can people find out about it?
Yeah, so they can follow me on my social media. It's my first and my last name, Nazneen Farhadi. I posted the event. It's in Orlando. It's based in Orlando. I think now at this point I maybe will be streaming it live due to potentially your suggestion on my social media platform. And it's just the beginning of kind of my introduction of my brand to the world.
Are you based in the Orlando area?
I am. I'm based in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
Originally from Redondo Beach, California.
Wow, beautiful. Nice.
Cindy, anything else you'd like to maybe mention or ask Nanzine or Eric?
Well, I think this is just a great opportunity because the world that we live in, there's so many entrepreneurs and business owners who are stressed out and don't have a lot of time on their hands, right? So,
Right. For sure.
100%.
yeah, so I think that people really need your services. And I think that what I would say in the last 2 minutes that you're here, maybe we can just get some quick takeaways from Eric, because Eric's using YouTube and his podcast to, generate trust from potential clients. And it's a like he said, it's a funnel. It's a great lead gen opportunity.
Nanzine, we've got a lot of feedback.
Nanzine, we have feedback now.
I think we're going to have to drop. Sorry, Nanzine. Thanks.
But we can have Eric
Okay.
answer that answer that question, if that's okay, Eric. I'm sure she's still listening.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great thing that you bring up, right? For her, and I
Really, anyone. You
Yeah,
know?
no, for anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I have learned from doing podcasts is if there's someone in their industry that you want to meet, if she were to create a podcast, it would give her a reason to reach out to them to ask them to come on her show so that
Mhm.
she can get to meet them to eventually start a relationship upon which she can develop out. So, I mean, for me, taking some of her best practices and turning that into content so that people can learn and discover her. I think, I mean, I would start with LinkedIn. I'd get LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and
Mhm.
then from
Yep.
there, I'd build a target audience and start pushing out my content to them.
Yeah, I love
Super
it.
easy.
Yeah, I think
Super
it's
easy to
great.
do.
Nanzine, you sound like a great person to work with. So good luck. We've now come, Eric, to the part of the podcast I don't like. Just as there is in life, things do come to an end. So thank you for being a great guest.
Thank you for having me.
I knew you would be. I apologize for my confusion in multiple areas, but I think it was also educational that you corrected me.
Mhm.
So thank you for that. We're going to do what I call go around the horn. I'm going to let Cindy go first. Any parting thoughts? Anything you'd like to mention? I know you have an event coming up in March. You might want to mention.
Okay.
And Eric, I'll let you go. Anything we haven't talked about you want to mention? Do that, and then I'll wrap up. So,
No,
Cindy,
time flies when you're having fun.
it was.
It went quick. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much, Eric. Such a pleasure to meet you. And this is a perfect example of how, in real life, I mean, even if we were on Zoom, but you get to know people when you're spending time.
Right.
Obviously, I watched a couple of Eric's videos before we met, but there's nothing like actually meeting and learning face to face. And just an example from what you were saying about having your podcast. It's a great way to get to know people and meet people.
Right.
And then I'll just mention March 14th at the Boca Raton Innovation Campus, we are hosting a event called the $1 Million Message. And a lot of people reach out regarding TEDx, and TEDx is only once a year, and you can only there's only a few spots for TEDx. And so we're giving people the opportunity to create content, get on stage with 4 influencers, and meet people and go through a channel and learn from other TEDx speakers. So the beautiful Boca Raton Innovation Campus, who, by the way, is a
The
Tech Hub
Tech Hub member,
partner.
very
Yep.
active. We had Gianna on a couple of weeks ago.
And they're a great TEDx partner as well.
Yeah, if
So-
you've not, I'm sorry, are you done?
No, that's
Yeah.
it. I'm just happy to meet Eric. This was amazing. Thank
Yeah.
you, Eric.
If you've never been to the Boca Raton Innovation Campus, definitely go. It's a beautiful, interesting facility. And a little history trivia. It's the former IBM Boca Raton location. And when I was with IBM, we used that facility as well.
Where the personal computer was born.
Thank you, Cindy. Yes, it was. That'll be my trivia.
1981, before Eric was born.
Yes.
Wait, what about Stephanie over there?
Stephanie's only 12.
Stephanie too.
Stephanie over here. Like, I'm the only one throwing the bus. Stephanie's sitting over here.
That's not throwing under the bus. I like to be under that bus with you.
Eric, parting thoughts? Anything you'd like to mention? Promote that we haven't mentioned?
I'm just always happy to clarify about this space, particularly now where I think more than ever,
Right.
people are very confused and they're trying to get me to say negative things about the current administration, which, for us as government contractors, we're neutral, right? Because the government is our customer. We protect the war fighter. We're providing solutions to protect and defend our freedom so that you guys can sleep at night. And that's the way that I carry myself. That's the voice and the tone
Love
that I
that.
speak with.
Right.
And so when you go back to look at that as the ultimate of why we do what we do, I feel like I'm doing my service to my country. I didn't serve in the actual military, but this is my way of giving to my country and helping to protect our freedoms that we all get to enjoy that I think that we sometimes forget about. So obviously, I've had a lot of chances to speak with a lot of people and commanders and generals, and if you're not on that same wavelength, then I can tell you this is not for you. So make sure that your heart's in it and that you can separate those feelings, and because this is truly, you're going to be dealing with all types of people, right, and across both sides of the party. And I will say that it is much more pleasurable than what you see on TV in Congress. We're not like that.
Interesting.
We play top golf, we play pickleball, we have fun. At my event conference last year, we did an all-white party. I chartered a yacht. So we have a lot of good time together. It's not what's on TV. What's on TV is really more of a spectacle. But that's not how it works in the real world. We all spend a lot of time together. Some of my colleagues that I've done business with, we've traveled to Spain together, to Colombia, to Dominican Republic, to Alaska. And so, we really do become a family within our community. So I do want to say that because, for me, what I've seen as innovation is bringing people to the spotlight and showcasing excellence across all groups of people that were not previously being given that spotlight. And so that's what I've been able to do through my platforms and showcase that. And so you, Cindy, when you see someone that looks like you from your background, from your experiences doing this, it makes you believe that it's possible. And the same thing like Jeffrey. But I think we see a lot more Jeffreys than we see Cindy's. So, that's they already exist. But showing people like yourself, I could think of 3 women that were on my show that probably have the same backgrounds and same experiences that are thriving in this sector. And so giving you that would allow you to feel the confidence that this is something that you can do. And that's what we've been able to do with our platform. So thank you for having me today.
I definitely want to learn more. And I think everybody should be following Eric. Tell us exactly where the best place.
Yeah, just Google me, Eric Coffie. My last name is spelled Coffie. And my organization is called Govcon Giants. That's GOVC. It stands for Government Contracting Giants. And so, right now, that's what we're doing. Our website really won't help you, Govcon Giants, because it's more geared towards working with federal agencies. So you won't learn a lot there. But if you follow me, Govcon Giants or Eric Coffie in my platforms, we do have some people copying me because I've got a big presence now. So just make sure it's the real thing, Coffie.
You mentioned, so thank you, Cindy. I thank you again, Eric. You mentioned the other website.
Federalhelpcenter.com.
Okay. That's all one, Federal Help Center, one word.
Federalhelpcenter.com.
You can go to that website.
Yeah, and that's the website where we have that's our community platform.
So I have Eric's Owwll profile up. You can reach out to Eric on Owwll, LinkedIn, the website he mentioned. If you're a federal agency out there, I'm sure you'd love to talk to him as well, but probably most of you are individual solo entrepreneurs. So if you watch live, thank you very much. Good afternoon, good morning, or good afternoon, good evening if you're watching the replay. Thank you to Steph.
Thank you, Steph.
Thank you, Steph. Thank you to Jason. Thank you to
Jason.
Al. Thank you to Cindy. Thank you to Eric. Good night, John Boy. If you don't get that reference, we'll talk about it next week. I'm Jeffry Ullman, Director of Membership. If you're not a member, reach out to me. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Thank you, Eric.